Here we are, 4 years in, I've seen it all. Hundreds of road traffic accidents, disgusting wounds that you can't possibly imagine. Dogs with skin so mangy it's hard to believe they'll ever have fur again. Millions upon millions of maggots. Back then, it was me, a tuk-tuk, and millions of dogs in need of veterinary care. I had no equipment, I had no contacts, I had very little support. But what I did have was determination and a vision for what life for Sri Lanka's street dogs could be. So I got stuck in. And little by little, WECare began to grow. It started with a supportive boss in the UK and some incredible Sri Lankans who I now call lifelong friends. We would cruise the streets of Sri Lanka, hanging out the back of a tuk-tuk, treating dogs on the street. They bought me ice creams to help combat the ridiculous heat and taught me loads of singular swear words. Gradually, people began to notice me for what I was doing, rather than for just being the only white girl in the village. I found Dr. Nuan. I found a building we could turn into a clinic. I found that a person could eat too much rice and curry and never, ever want to see it again. Generous donations meant that we finally had equipment and medication. I made friends and family, both Sri Lankan and Western. I developed an addiction to deep-fried waddy. I waited 18 months for our shipping container to arrive. I operated on the floor of my house, the rooms becoming makeshift recovery pens. I had to chop the head off a snake in my garden with a spade. You know, just your average Thursday. I learned the true meaning of island time and patience. I learned to stop running out for ice cream every time I heard the bread truck go past playing It's a Small World. I learned that you can't be precious and live in Sri Lanka. There are too many opportunities for things like cobras in your bathroom, week-long water cuts, and men in everywhere you go. I learned how much ticks like to secretly hide under your boobs. I was lucky enough to work alongside some amazing Sri Lankan vets. We set up pop-up clinics, neutering dogs, getting covered in every bodily fluid known to man, supporting, teaching, and learning from each other. I got a scooter so that I no longer had to ride on buses that were death traps and were so loud and blinging it was like driving in a mobile disco. I learnt that everything in Sri Lanka is done on paper, and writing the right letter to the right person is the only way to get things done, though usually no one knows who the right person is or what the right letter should say. I waded through endless piles of pee and poo, but most of it was more worm than poo. I sweated and cried more than I ever thought possible. Guys, I am so dehydrated. I travelled to Dubai to locum so I could keep things afloat, but mainly to bring back as much cheese as possible. Unless it's a processed triangle, cheese is like gold dust in Sri Lanka. I learnt that a big problem is never actually a big problem, but a small problem is something to watch out for. It often involves fire and electricity, and someone trying to fix it by throwing a bucket of water over the fuse box. I had to learn to charm my way through endless bureaucracy, all in the hope of others believing in my cause as much as I did. But one thing I didn't have to learn was how to love Sri Lanka in all its glory. Not for the shiny tourist image that's portrayed on Instagram, but for the real gritty soul of the place, a place that's captured my heart. I love Sri Lanka for everything that it is, its quirks and all. And my love for the dogs goes beyond words. It's indescribable. My heart broke when the money dried up and I thought it was all for nothing. It was all over. But the BBC arrived. I thought we might get some nice photos out of it. Instead, we got 32 million views. I received death threats, I received marriage proposals. We received so many emails we didn't know what to do with ourselves. We had battles with the authorities, but amongst the craziness, we received support, glorious support. And that brings us to today. Today we have staff, we have a hospital, a fully equipped one with actual real shit in it, and actual real amazing staff in it. We have amazing people on site supporting us. We've treated over 6,000 dogs in the field. I've adopted 5 dogs. One is blind, deaf, and smells like the bog of eternal stench. I am proud to call Sri Lanka my home, and WECare is my world. I'm so proud of what we've achieved, overwhelmed by still how much there is to do, but so confident in our abilities to make it happen. Without our supporters, we could never get to where we have. So thank you for joining us on this journey. WECare has and continues to be a magical adventure. It's full of ups and downs, but we wouldn't have it any other way. We are living, not just existing. When I see the relief in a dog's eyes when I scoop them off the street and make them feel safe, I know that this is my calling and this is what I'll be doing forever. And if I can find someone who can put up with my shit and a whole heap of dog shit, then maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to have grandkids so I can tell about all this. I can teach them that I was just a normal girl, that there is nothing special about me. I just believed in something, looked at the bigger picture, and went for it wholeheartedly and relentlessly. And at this end, as the animals in desperate need continue to roll in en masse and the chaos continues to reign supreme, we will continue to fight the good fight because we care.